Hello and good evening to you all. I'm very sorry we're a little bit late, 15 minutes late, 14 minutes late to be precise. We have had a bit of a busy day with guests coming in by boat. So, yeah, we've had all of that going on, and we didn't make it to the meeting, obviously, because that wasn't going to be possible after you saw what happened last night. So no, we were not going to be going to that meeting. Unfortunately, the meeting was very conclusive. So things happened. So hello. Our neighbour did very well, and he's been elected to the local council, and he's a very busy man. So there we are. Anyway, wait for a few more of you to come in, but good evening to Paws, Claws and Jaws, Enigma, Marianne, Linz, Keeley, Expialidocious, Enigma, Jane O'Keefe. Sorry, Enigma, I've already said hello to you already. Susan Gent, or Ghent, I don't know whether that is a Gent or Ghent. Socio Mario, Diana Bardsley, and there we are. So, hello. Happy Easter Monday. You see the wind is starting to get up again and a bit of blowing gale, but we had a lovely time sitting in the garden this afternoon. Lots of sunshine, absolutely fabulous. And there's a few of you coming in. There's 26 of you straight away. Obviously, I'm a bit late, so I'm very sorry to those people who probably think maybe I wasn't going to show up, so perhaps they cleared off. So probably a fair few of you have, but I haven't had chance. We do have the coughing in the background, but I'm trying to get the lady on the strepsils. I think strepsils are the answer, given cough medicine is not appreciated. So, people do things their own way. There we go. Anyway, there will be a bit of coughing in the background, but I can't do anything about it. So we're not going to object. We'll just have to play along. It's like a violin, isn't it? A violin always plays whenever it wants. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. So we're waiting for a few more of you to come in. We've got 34 of you. The lighting is awful, as usual. I hate the lighting on this program. I really hate it because I look like Donald Trump. Whatever angle I put the lighting at, I look like Dracula or Donald Trump. I go... it's not a good set of lighting, but I never know until I turn it on. Even though it's lighter outside, this is now looking even worse. This is absolutely awful. I don't know what to do with this. Tonight it looks worse than ever, so I do apologize. I don't know if I spin it round. No, that makes no difference. If I spin it this way, but well, that's not so bad. Lighting is a thing I'm not got a skill at. Can't be good at everything, can we? So no, I'm no good at that. Right, okay. Have I had a nice day? Thank you for your question, Jane O'Keefe. We've had a lovely day with friends, and we've been playing with a model boat. It's been absolutely fabulous. A model sailing yacht that's been running around outside, where you can see that mast vaguely, because the mast keeps coming and going. I can see that's coming in and out of the light. The thing that looks like a cross. That is the boat, mast of the boat. We've had a little boat going in and out, and some other people have had their little motorboat going in and out, model one. So it's been a bit like a children's playing school, hasn't it? It's a bit like going to Kensington Gardens, where you could take your little boats and sail them around the yacht pond. Absolutely wonderful. It was lovely, very nice. We had to get the batteries going, and that was a bit of an issue, but he got it going. My friend. There we are. So yes. Anyway, I hope you've all had a wonderful day yourselves. So any questions for me before we begin? We'll talk about a few topics. I don't have that many today because I haven't had time to prepare, and I have written a quiz, but I've written it very quickly. So I'm sorry if it's a disappointing quiz, but we'll give it a go. Sometimes the quiz has to be a bit easier than harder, and with less notes around it. But anyway, you'll get a quiz. But tomorrow you'll get a better quiz because I have to spend time writing these things. I can't do things instantly. It's not really possible. One has to spend time thinking about things. And today I haven't had chance because I've had all sorts of nonsense, and that's frankly how it's been. So there we go. What do I think of the 10-minute lady space trip? I think the 10-minute lady space trip was an absolute abhorrent waste of space, a load of rubbish, a load of stupid, vacuous, vain people. Well, let's remember that Martha Stewart, who I had dinner with in probably, I think, 2004, she went on a space trip also. She was up there herself. And Martha, okay, she's been a jailbird. She's done a few bad things. Really, they locked her up for a bit of insider trading. Seriously, stupid people. When I met her, I thought, what an amazing lady. She's made hundreds of millions. She's far better than that ghastly Oprah. Martha Stewart is, a woman who comes from a trailer park who's changed the world. Good for Martha. Martha was there long before them. They went on and on about how they were the famous women who'd first been to space. Well, so what? Martha did it years before them. So why don't they bog off? Shove it up their jumpers, stupid women. Absolute idiots. This Katy Perry. Who cares? Holding on to a daisy. Oh, come on, you moron. Absolute Burke. Martha Stewart is far superior to them. Martha Stewart is actually someone who tells people how to create. She's not like Meghan Markle, and I'm going to come to Meghan Markle in a moment. She's not like Meghan, who goes around telling people how to make a bit of jam. For God's sake. Martha Stewart actually gives people good ideas. She's like Julia Child was in the 1960s, an amazing lady. Delia Smith, let me think of another one, another of those amazing ladies of that era, Anyway, I'm being put off, but anyway, good people, but not like this bunch of Burks. This silly rag bag of old rich women who, Sanchez and all the rest of it. Who cares? Rich people showing off, creating a carbon footprint, causing more pollution to the earth. Why don't they bog off? Why don't they shove it up their jumper? Don't like them. Nope, not a fan. Totally against rich idiot bitches going into space, making out that they are pioneers. They weren't pioneers in the first place. So they're telling lies for a start, because Martha Stewart did far better many years ago. So go away. Look, if they had been pioneers, I'd have said, yeah, let's celebrate them. But they're not. They're just a bunch of rich bitches who thought, oh, we're going to get a bit of publicity for ourselves, and we're going into space, and then we're going to hold a daisy. For goodness sakes, grow up, you stupid bloody people. But no, of course they won't, because they're attention seekers. They're like the female equivalent of Andrew Tate. Boring influencers, pests, petulant pains in the neck. I don't like these kind of people. Go away. Now, I'm not saying they are as bad as Andrew Tate in the sense of what he's done, but they are attention seekers like him. And that's what they're doing. They're playing a little game to get their little brands going. This Katy Perry and this Lauren Sanchez woman. Well, just because she's going to marry one of the richest men in the world. Oh, good for her. Oh, Who cares about her? I didn't even know who she was. I'd never heard of her. I don't really want to hear of her. I definitely don't want to hear of her again. I'm very lucky to have had some very inspirational ladies in my life. Barbara Minto, my very dear Barbara Minto, who I've told you about before, first class of women at Harvard Business School, first woman to work for McKinsey, orphan, brought up in a Catholic orphanage where she was abused by the nuns, terribly treated. And she's gone on to do great things for the world. The Minto Pyramid principle. It's read by every management consulting student. And she's a 90-something-year-old lady. And look what she did for the world when she had nothing. She started out as a secretary. She started out as a waitress, in fact, before that, when she left the convent. And, that's an achiever. What's Lauren Sanchez? She's just a woman who got her breasts blown up and has gone after a rich man. She's no achiever. What did she achieve in the world? These people are attention-seeking pests. Be like Barbara Minto, don't be like Lauren Sanchez, I say. There we go. Be like, Lotty Helmore. Lotty Helmore was an amazing lady I met. Lotty Helmore was kept in Auschwitz. She ate stones because she knew that if she ate stones, she wouldn't feel hungry. She kept the stones in her stomach. She spent the rest of her life giving people food. She ran food banks out and food campaign things out of Trafalgar Square in London. What an amazing lady. She survived the Holocaust. She did good. What did Lauren Sanchez do? She got her boobs blown up and then she's going to marry a rich man and she's going to space and she wants a bit of attention. Seriously? Who is the better person? Lottie Helmore or Lauren Sanchez? I think I know who I prefer. There are wonderful, wonderful ladies in the world who I've met. I've met amazing people. Patricia Routledge, who played, Mrs. Bucket, Mrs. Bouquet, the lady of the house speaking, and Betty Boothroyd, people like that. Fabulous, wonderful women. And then we've got Lauren Sanchez. I didn't mean to have a go at Lauren Sanchez today, but you brought her up, so you may as well have it. I don't like Lauren Sanchez. I think Lauren Sanchez and Katy Perry and all of that lot, boring Burks, they should bog off. But these wonderful ladies who have done good for the world, especially Lottie Helmore, because, she survived Auschwitz and then she went off to feed other people. What a wonderful thing she did. She could have just, retreated and hidden herself away. But no, she wanted to help other people because she said, I went through extreme hunger. So why should other people have to do it? And what a lovely old lady. Kind-hearted and decent. And in Broadstairs, we had a lovely lady called Audrey. Min here, who is here in the background, she will cough a bit, but honestly, we knew a lady called Audrey. And Audrey was a violinist who played at the Albert Hall. And wasn't she an amazing lady? Incredible. A community heroine. And nobody knew much about Audrey, but she wandered around in her little coat. I can't remember where the coat came from, but she wore this coat all year round. And what a lovely lady. She's now in a home. But she has a story. What does Lauren Sanchez have? She's got big tits because she got them blown up so she could marry this billionaire. What a boring woman who goes into space. I don't care about these people. I think we need to have more news about people like Audrey. Let's have stories in the paper about Audrey and Lotty Helmore and Barbara Minto, good people who've actually achieved. We don't need to see the pictures of the big-breasted woman who can afford, because her billionaire husband-to-be can afford to pay for it. She's not paying for it, by the way. It's not her. She's a nobody. She's an absolute pest. Disgusting woman like her. And that Beckham woman. I can't stand her. I'm sick of hearing about that Beckham woman and that awful Jerry Halliwell. There's another one. Jerry Horner, as she's now known. Lovely man she's married to. Class act he is. Lovely things went on with him, didn't he? Great friend of Bernie Eccleston, another class act. But no, the Beckham woman, the sour-faced misery that is Victoria Beckham. Do we need to continue to hear about these people every day of the week? Why don't we celebrate more people like Audrey, Barbara Minto, and Lottie Helmore? They are good people. They have not done anything bad. Why not celebrate good people? We've got this, I noticed, and I don't know if I talked about it, but, that horrible Captain Tom's daughter, she's appeared in the papers again because yet more scandal with her. Look, Captain Tom was a lovely man, without a doubt. Captain Tom acted with integrity. His daughter, well, she didn't. So we don't want to hear about her anymore. I'm bored of her. I'm absolutely sick of her. She needs to be sent to Siberia, along with Michelle Mone, all of those people. We don't need any more of those. We need some good people. It's about time we had some good news in our newspapers. We need some good news. We don't want to wake up every morning to read, oh, this person stole this and this person stole that. Why don't we have a little bit of, people who do good? I try to do it myself from time to time with my reporting, and I try to find good people, and I do. Like I find in lockdowns, I found that this lovely pair of ladies who made cakes and sweets. They were 60-something years old and they'd retired, and they turned it into a £5 million business. Well done them. I like calling out things like that. And, the little girl who made the marmalade, who I wrote about. And, Flora Lister was her name, and she got to sell her marmalade, 10-year-old girl in Fortnum and Mason. And, I like things like that. I like the little snippets of joy. We need a bit of joy in our lives because the negativity is so bad. And this bunch of creeps, they can't take over they have taken over our world, of course, but we need some positivity. Yes, you think about Keir Starmer and Lord Ali kissing. Oh dear. Well, I wasn't meant to say they were kissing, but oh dear, the footage shows them kissing, does it? I don't know if that's true or not. I've absolutely no idea. But as I said last night, it's all an allegation from Jim Davidson, and whether it's true or not is another matter. But it's not looking very good. Actually, I suppose we could have, it's not where's Wally, where's Lady Starmer? And it's not where's Lady Victoria, because Lady Victoria is Lady Victoria Harvey. People get this very wrong always. An aristocrat is allowed to have a title Lady Victoria, but she's not called Lady Victoria Starmer. Her name is Lady Starmer, like the ghastly Lady Tina Green, as she calls herself. And when I met Lady Green is the wife of Sir Philip Green, another nasty toe rag. So Lady Green said, call me Lady Tina. And I said, your name is not Lady Tina. Your name is Lady Green, because you are married to Sir Philip Green. Sir Philip Green was given a title. Lady Victoria Harvey is the daughter of an aristocratic family, and therefore she is Lady Victoria Harvey. She has got that name. whatever we think of Lady Victoria and her mad views. And I last saw Lady Victoria on, I think it was New Year's Eve or somewhere around about then in a casino, and we did have a bit of a chin wag, as you could say. But she's too busy, manning up for the lovely Randy Andy. But this Lady Victoria, as they're calling her, Starmer, Lady Starmer, as she should be called, she's vanished. Where is Lady Starmer? It's like, where's Wally? Where is Lady Starmer? We could be asking the question, couldn't we? It's quite an important thing. Right. In the background, I don't know what's going on, but I don't know are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah. Right. I believe so. Thank you for your £20 donation from someone. Someone's given me £20. That's very kind of you. I don't know what have I done to deserve £20. It's in orange, so I hope you like the orange jacket. If you like the orange jacket, you can buy clothes from a man called Sean Christopher. He's our friend in London. He's behind PJ's in Fulham Road, and he runs a wonderful tailoring business. He's fabulous, isn't he? Yeah. Yes, and we like his work. So everybody loves his clothes, and everybody from a lot of famous musicians. I'm not going to name names because I don't think he might want me to do that. But very famous A-list musicians use him, and it's not Bernard Weatherall. The shirt is Bernard Weatherall, yes, of course. I love Bernard Weatherall. Most of my clothes come from there, and I'm wearing Tom Ford also, but down below you can't really see. I have a lot of clothes from there, and I get clothes from lots of other places, and I'm not supported by any of them. I'm not, apart from Sean kindly gave me this jacket, but no, Bernard Weatherall do not sponsor me. Nobody sponsors me. But no, I like lots of things, and I love Todd's shoes, and I have lots of Tom Ford shoes and lots of other things. So places, all sorts of places, but primarily Todd's are the shoes of choice. And I have lots of different clothes from lots of different places, but the jacket is not from Bernard Weatherall this evening. Right. Okay. Well, right. David says I can afford Primark. Well, I think there's lots of good things that come out of Primark. I'm told it's a great shop. I've been there. I thought it was a fascinating place. Lots of good things in there. You can buy all sorts. Get in. Jane O'Keefe says you always look very smart. Well, I try my best, but I sometimes look a bit rough. But there we go. You like charity shops. Charity shops are fabulous places to get anything, and there's nothing wrong with a charity shop. We should all support charity shops. There is nothing wrong with recycling goods, because goods should be reused. Absolutely wonderful. I totally agree with you. What's the point of throwing things away that can be reused? Lady Min here gave the cleaner here the other day a bag full of clothes, a huge bag full of clothes, things that she will be able to wear and reuse. So what's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that. There we go. So, right, there's a few of you coming in. There's 132 of you by now. Okay, so we're getting closer to a peak number. Any questions? Any questions for me? Let's think of things other than charity shops. We've done that. Moving on. Right. Okay. Any more questions before I bring up a topic? Because I've got a couple of topics in mind. What did I have for lunch? I didn't really have any lunch, to be honest. I was preparing a drinks party, and I just had a few crisps, to be honest, for lunch. So no, that was that. But the guests had some some crab and some salmon and some salami, and they had a few other things. But anyway, never mind. No, I didn't have very much to eat today, but tomorrow I think I deserve a good lunch. That's what I really want. After that, because I've worked very hard today, and I didn't have much to eat yesterday, so I had a horrible sandwich which was particularly useless. So I think tomorrow it's time for a proper old nosh up. Yep, definitely a lunch tomorrow. Right, what did I drink for lunch? Well, gin and wine, obviously. And we played with the boat. We had the little model sailing yacht out. It was quite fun to watch. So there we go. Hello to Cult Television coming in from Canada. My dear friend from Canada who goes under the pseudonym of Cult Television. Hello to you. Yes, thank you for your arrival. Have I ever met Tony Blackburn? Asks Carol. No, never met Tony Blackburn. I do know who he is, but I've never met him. Scott Monks is having a leg of lamb tomorrow. Well, we should have had a leg of lamb yesterday, which would have made life a bit easier, I reckon. But we didn't, so we should have done that yesterday. You like the Miami Vice look, says Cult Television. Thank you, my friend. You think I look like something from Miami Vice in this orange jacket, and Sean, the tailor. So, yep. Maybe that was what he was trying to do, was to make me look like something out of Miami Vice. And the background does look a bit Miami with the blue, the kind of blue background that I've got on the palm tree. So I understand what you're making your point at. So I do need to move the chair around because we don't need the radiator in the background and the pole of the lamp. But it's very hard with this YouTube because I don't have you here to help me. So fly in from Canada and come and help me. Thank you. Do I believe in the Loch Ness Monster? No, I don't believe in the Loch Ness Monster. I think the Loch Ness Monster is a fiction created to make money. But there is this I did the wonderful story of the Loch Ness Monster a few months ago where someone can be paid, I don't know, it's $40,000 a year to take people looking for the Loch Ness Monster. When I was a child, I used to go up there and I did want to go and look for it, but my parents were very disparaging and said, "Oh, don't waste your time." And they were probably quite right because it's a load of old rot. There's no such thing as the Loch Ness Monster. It's a complete load of rubbish. It's a complete fallacy created by people who want to make money, I do think. Right. Who's the most disappointing famous person I've ever met? I suppose it would be Stephen Fry. Stephen Fry is the most pompous person I've ever spent a weekend with at a house party in Norfolk. All he ever talked about was Stephen Fry. He is so boring. I thought he would be funny and witty, and I was looking forward to it. And I was looking forward to, and every time we went anywhere, we went to we had lunch in the house, we had drinks somewhere else, we went to the local pub, we went to another lunch in the house, and and everything. The person who gave this party, everything was scheduled. Literally, you were told you would be up at 10 o'clock to go on the walk to the beach. You do this, you do this. These people were very, very organized. At every juncture, all I got was Stephen Fry talking about Stephen Fry. And what a boring bastard he was. I was totally unimpressed by Stephen Fry. So there you go. Worst person I've ever met, I suppose, in that sense. Gloria Hunniford, the woman with multiple swimming pools. She's very boring as well. She is awful. Anthea Turner, you all know I don't like Anth, but she's not as bad as Inglorious Hunniford is so pompous. She's another pompous woman. She really thinks she's very important. Once they think they're a national treasure, it goes to their head. Those two national treasures, my God, you wouldn't want them. You wouldn't want them at breakfast, let alone dinner. Seriously, you couldn't stand their company. And the most modest, wonderful person I've ever met, obviously Omar Sharif. Omar Sharif was delightful. He just said, "I'm a simple man who lives in a bedsit in Paris." He was so down to earth, absolutely delightful. There are plenty of others who I know who are seriously famous. Johnny Depp, when I met him, what a lovely man. He just was quiet and humble and pleasant. Nothing wrong with him, unlike that horrible Amber woman, Amber Turd or whatever. I can't remember her actual name, but they nicknamed her Amber Turd. Dreadful woman. There are many people who are modest and decent and kind. Betty Boothroyd, Patricia Routledge, Alan Bennett. He's a lovely man. Who else? I can tell you who definitely isn't. Philip Schofield, awful, vile, one of the most vile people, pushing past my mother to try and buy water lilies. Naughty man. No, we weren't having any of that. We don't like Philip Schofield. He's a dreadful man. What a creep. He's not a man. He's a mouse. Shame on him. Don't like him. But I've given you a few examples of a few lovely people. J.K. Rowling, I think what she's done for speaking out for women, fabulous. She's done a good job. Some more people who've done good lately. Right, lately, I don't know. Lately, it's hard. Right, to think of people who've done good lately. I can think of people who've done good generally, but that's easier. But right now, right, okay, you're putting me on my feet. I think Kate Blanchett's a wonderful lady, delightful. I've enjoyed her, and we had a nice dialogue recently. She's a fantastic actress. What an achiever. Okay. I think Brian Collingwood, who's on Radio 4 in The Archers. He was on the Saturday Live the other day, and I did enjoy his Inheritance tracks, the songs that he enjoyed. And I thought, what a charming thing that he did. And he's married to the lady who played Shula in The Archers in real life. So, he's a wonderful, wonderful gentleman. He's obviously plays a bit of a villainous character in The Archers. He's the robber baron farmer, and but he's been in it for 50 years, and he's doing a little bit of a tour. And I thought, that's a nice man. I love my friend who was also in The Archers, Graham Seed. Graham played Nigel Pargeter in The Archers, and he was he fell off the roof of the house, and it was like, when he fell down, when he went up to take the flag on his stately home down, and he died, and that was the end of him. And his wife has been involved in The Mousetrap, the play that has run the longest ever in the world. The Mousetrap in London. And they're a wonderful pair. There's so many fabulous people out there. So celebrate the good people in life. That's what we want. We need some good people celebrated. We don't always have to talk about people like Philip Schofield. He is an unscrupulous individual, says Jack Smith. Yes, Philip Schofield is revolting, and he's a pig, and he should be sent to Siberia. Cult Television asks me, Bobby Davro. I don't know much about Bobby Davro, other than he just looks a bit irritating. I don't know much about him. I can't possibly say. I don't know who Jessica Martin is, Cult Television. I can't answer your question. Please tell me who she is. Rod Hull and Emu. Well, they didn't do any harm. What's wrong with Rod Hull and Emu? Don't mind them. I'll give them a pass. Have I met Charlotte Rampling? I've heard of the name, but I don't know who Charlotte Rampling is, so I can't answer your question. Freddie Starr, well, I don't know. I will cough at this point because I don't have a clue, but I don't have a clue about the allegations. Roger Moore. I do know Roger Moore's daughter, Deborah, and I do know the sons. Deborah is one of the weirdest people I've ever met, and she's not very pleasant. She's one of the most ghastly people. She's so up her own arse that, frankly, no, thank you. Debbie Moore is awful. She was the Scottish Widows advert woman, with the big black thing, cape and the horse and all of that. And she was in one Bond film as an extra. And she bangs on about her acting career as if she is, Scarlett O'Hara. For goodness sakes, this woman is ridiculous. And she used to come to a friend of mine's restaurant. She brought her own lentils to the restaurant, and she smelt of these dreadful lentils. And she brought her own soya milk, and she was a pain in the arse. And my friend Stephen Burkhoff and I, he used to come and have lunch with me. And when she'd be there, she'd be coming over because obviously the Bond connection, because Stephen was in Octopussy. He was like, oh, not her again. And that's how everyone felt about Debbie Moore. Right. Okay, so next question. Freddie Starr was a wrong un, you say? Okay. Well, he was accused of things, but I don't believe he was convicted. But I am not a fan of any of those kind of people. But I don't believe he was convicted, so I cannot make a comment because I don't know about his case. I know his case connects with all the others, but as far as I'm aware, he wasn't convicted. So I will leave it at that. Let's say that's that. What's my most prized personal possession? Well, I did buy a little statue last year of maybe it was 2023 actually. No, 2023. I bought a little statue of a little thing called the Newspaper Man, which was a lovely thing. It was a man holding a newspaper, and I just thought I'd love to have this, so I went and bought it. It was a stupid thing to do because, quite frankly, wasting money on things that you don't need. It's in storage anyway now. But I loved it, so I bought it. It was a lovely exhibition by the owner of Bellamy's restaurant in Mayfair. Gave a thing at the Polish Half Club, which is a fantastic little club in South Kensington. That is the patron is Prince Michael of Kent, and there were lots of lovely artists there, and there were lots of lovely friends, like my friend Nicky Kerman, who's a brilliant restaurateur who used to own Scott's in Mayfair, and the owners of the former owners of the Enterprise restaurant in Walton Street, who also owned Christopher's in Covent Garden, the Christopher Gilmore and his wife, and we had a lovely evening. And there was this little statue, and it was £250, so I bought it, and I love it. I absolutely love it, but it's sadly sitting in a storage vault now. But I love that. Yep, I love that. I love loads of other things, but I don't need possessions. I'm really like one of these people who can go around with nothing. You just need a suitcase full of clothes and a bag of books, and off you go. The books are more important to me than anything else, I suppose. Yep, I would say books. You've got to have books, because if you don't have books, life is very dull. I do like to read, and I read newspapers primarily on the internet now because that's the way of the world. But yeah, no, that's a good thing. Um, what do I think of a romantic evening? Well, I'm not really currently looking for romance, but if you want to have a romantic evening, go and I suppose fly to Venice. That's what I say you should do. That's the best place for romance in my world. If you wanted to have a romantic time, go there. Venice. Right. What do I think of? Have I met Noel Edmonds? I have met Noel Edmonds. He is utterly deranged. That man is like David Icke. He's cuckoo. He thinks that mobile phones are going to kill you and all this nonsense. He's one of those types. We used to have one in Broadstairs. He was called, God, I've forgotten his name. He was an awful man. What was the name of that awful man?
The lawyer.
No, the one with the dogs, the dog walker. Yes, this awful man, and he was very rude about my mother. And I'm not going to say what he said about my mother because I've never told my mother, but he was disgusting. He was a dog walker, and he believed, that 5G was going to kill everybody, and you had to stockpile tins of food and all this. He was awful. And he banned himself from the Magnet because he didn't like, because someone made a comment he didn't like. Oh, he was awful, and he was completely mad. He didn't like the internet. He didn't like this. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I can't. Isn't that good actually? There's a good piece of news. I've forgotten what his name was. I can't even remember his name. He was so awful, and now I've forgotten him. And that is what should happen in life. People like that should be erased from your mind. I can't remember his name. I can remember his face. If his face came up, and none of the locals talk about him anymore because he doesn't go to the local place that we all went to. So, isn't that wonderful? Good riddance to bad rubbish. I don't remember. Yes, the 39 steps is Lady Min has got a very good point there, because the 39 steps, of course, was written in Broadstairs. So. But we've forgotten what his name was. Anyway, he was very into litter picking and walking other people's dogs, but he used to hit their dogs. He used to hit his own dogs, and he gave one dog cannabis. He was totally awful. But anyway, never mind. Doesn't matter. He's forgotten. Right. He was annoying. Yes. Cult Television says he was very annoying because Cult Television met him as well. Yes. Anyway, whatever his name was, who cares? Nobody cares about people like that. Okay. Kenneth Williams came across as pompous and obnoxious, but I think it was part of a persona. Well, I don't know anything about Kenneth Williams. Tony Hart. A favorite amongst many here. I never met Tony Hart, but the Art Attack with Glue and Glitter was a bit of a thing. Cult Television says, you forced me to talk to him. That awful man, yes. I do now remember his name, but I'm not going to say it because let's not give him airtime. I'm very sorry to you, Cult Television. I'm not going to name your real name because I know you like to keep private. But I do apologize for introducing you to such a repugnant specimen, because that's what he was. Rolf Harris. I met Rolf Harris in an Indian restaurant in South Kensington, Noor Jahan, a lovely restaurant, favorite of mine. Lovely, in one of my many favorite restaurants, because you see, I'm not allowed to have a favorite. So, no, Noor Jahan was fabulous, but we had to sit next to Bendy and Rolf, and I was with some other young people of my own age, who was probably 20-something at the time, and he made a point of trying to make jokes with us, and I just looked at him and I thought, you are creepy. You're not pleasant. You're not welcome, and we don't want to talk to you. And then I was forced to meet him again when I went to an exhibition. My friends owned a gallery in Mayfair, and amongst them, they did a multiple artist show, and amongst the artists was him. And he went, "Oh, you." And I went, "Oh, God, here he is again." I thought, I don't like being with you. There was something about him immediately. The creep. He was such a creepy crawly. What happened to that picture he painted of the Queen? It's vanished. Where is the picture of Rolf Harris painted of the Queen? Nobody seems to know where it ended up. It's probably been burnt. Probably the best thing that could be done with it, because it's disgusting. But I wouldn't say burn books or anything like that. But Rolf Harris, what a revolting man. What a creep. He used his own daughter to bring in, he's another one like Max Clifford. Use your own children to bring in the people you abuse. What a revolting man. And as for you, Bendy Nichols, I hope you're watching this program, because I don't like you, Bendy Nichols. I don't know what your new name is now, but nobody wants anything to do with you either, you horrible, horrible woman. You're another vile one. Louise Clifford is dead, daughter of Max Clifford. She was a nasty piece of work, and she tried to sue me. Horrible, horrible woman. Anyway, she's dead now. Anyway, I'm not worried about her. She was a bore. But Bendy Nichols, come on, let's be having you. Let's be having you, as they say. Let's be having you. Okay, I don't mind challenging paedophiles and their little associates. So, Rotten Rolf. What a filthy piece of scum your father was, Bendy Nichols. So, come on. I'm ready for you. Let's have you. Okay, he wrote a poem whilst he was in prison, or a song you would call it, on this didgeridoo, whatever. And it was called The Woodworms. He referred to his victims as the woodworm women, the disgusting scum women who had dared to accuse him. And you enabled your father, you disgusting woman. So you're awful. So come on, sue me. I'd love to be sued by you, Bendy Nichols, because that'd be a great court case. But you won't win, because your father wrote the poem called Woodworm Women. Isn't that revolting, viewers? Isn't that the most horrible thing you could say of people he abused who were mostly, 14, 15 years old? He called them the woodworm women. I've got it. I've got I can find it. Let me have a look. It's disgusting. I'm going to try and find it. I've got the couple I forgot to mention here as well. Woodworm Women, Rolf Harris. I've got the whole poem. Let me find it. It's very. I wasn't meaning to talk about this. No. Right, just give me a moment. I wasn't meaning to talk about it. Repugnant Rolf. Here we go. He sang a song called Woodworm Women. The slimy woodworm, he called it. Right, okay. So, I'm very sorry to read you this revolting poem, but I'm going to read it anyway. I think it's necessary I read it, because now you've asked me about Rolf Harris. He begins. This is what he says. Climb up out of the woodwork, babe, from 42 years ago. The climate's great in Britain now for making loads of dough. You've festered down there long enough. Oh, now my screen is gone. Just a minute. Right, sorry. got the. You festered down there long enough. Time's right to grab your chance. Clap eyes on a rich celebrity. Oh, he thought he was a celebrity. I hate the word celebrity. Anyone who calls themselves a celebrity is not. That's a horrible word. It's a word that should be awarded to you, rather like being called an entrepreneur. My father always said to me, if you call yourself an entrepreneur, who the hell are you? And that's why we had a row with horrible Richard Branson. And anyways, clap your eyes on the rich celebrity and make the bastard dance, he said. Chorus, make him squirm, slimy little woodworm. Make him squirm, squirm, squirm. Sink your claws right into the hilt. Don't let him go. Group, no, no. Make him burn, burn, burn. Slimy little woodworm, make him burn. This is Rolf Harris at your best. Get your 50 years old hooks into his dough. Group, go, baby, go. That old bandwagon that you crawled out of, rotten to the core, conceals a host of foul accusers, 20, maybe more. My guess if they'll slide after you, all following your stench, perhaps you'll believe you're pretty still, some perfumed, sultry wench. Chorus, make him squirm, I can hear you sing. Make him squirm, squirm, squirm. Just imagine all the money waiting there. Group, oh yeah, make him burn, burn, burn. Come and join the feeding frenzy, girls. Don't miss out. Come and join me for your share. Group, put it there. That was Rolf Harris, once in prison. That is a revolting, horrible, nasty, vile man. Wouldn't you agree? He came out with that after he was convicted of doing that. And then once he got out of prison, when he was on license, he went to the local village school in Maidenhead and he started waving at the school children. And he had to be removed from the school playground, waving like this, because he thinks he's still famous. That man he wasn't a man, he was a monster. And he should have been deported in the first place. What a revolting person. I'm glad they stripped him of his OBE or his MBE or whatever he had, or CBE or whatever he had. But as for that ghastly wife and his horrible daughter, you know, they've got about 20 million out of it, so they've not done too badly. So there we go. Yeah, he's a vile creature. Well said, NWEV. Well said. Yuck, says Linda Joe. Lynn says cheeky rat, thought he was above the law. I wouldn't say he was a cheeky rat. I'd say he was a complete vile rat. But he is, yes, awful. He was a complete narcissist. Yes. You were shocked. Well, I wasn't shocked, but how horrible that he did that whilst in prison. You know, not pleasant. Anyway, I forgot to mention the other day, so I'll bring this up. We haven't even got to my topics, and I will share a link in due course. There was a couple in Oxfordshire. So this couple are called Bob and Paula Hessen. Bob and Paula Hessen lived in a thatched cottage in a 17th century thatched cottage. And I wanted to mention last night them, Bob and Paula Hessen. I feel sorry for them. On the 5th of April, their thatched cottage burnt to the ground and they were left with nothing. So this poor couple have been left with zero. They've got nothing. It was uninsured because they were due to have a tiled roof put on in the coming weeks, and they've lived there for 53 years. And this poor couple have nothing left. Now, I don't know them. I've got no connection with them, but there is a fundraiser for them, and their son and daughter are trying to help them. Now, I'm not saying that we should have to all give money to them, but Bob and Paula Hessen, it must be awful to lose your home, and they've not even got any clothes, all their shoes, all their everything. It took 80 firefighters to tackle the fire, and the beautiful house, 17th century home, has been burnt to the ground, and they're homeless. So they have a GoFundMe page. So I'm saying perhaps maybe some of you could support them. It might be a nice thing to do, but I'll give you the link. And I'm not saying you have to support them, but there we are. I just felt a bit sorry for them when I read of them, because isn't that a horrible thing to happen? Your house burns to the ground and you've got nowhere to go. So I can't give the link for some reason. The link is too long. Oh, I know why. Okay. I'll give you the shorter link. Lady men, don't we think we should support the poor couple whose house is burnt to the ground?
Oh, God, yes.
They've got nowhere to go. They've lived there for 53 years. It's uninsured because it had a thatched roof and they were meant to put on a tile roof, and £12,000 has been raised to try and help them. They've lost everything. They haven't even got clothes or shoes. They lived there for 53 years. They come across as very decent people. You know, she was a primary school teacher, and they had to watch their home of 53 years burn to the ground, and they were planning on replacing the roof with a tiled roof because the thatch roof was uninsurable increasingly. No, they're not bad people, and I think, I've given you the link. If you want to give them a pound, please give them a pound at least, because if everyone gives a pound, it'll help them. And it's so sad to read that story. I felt very sorry for them because they're not grifters, they're not begging themselves. It was their own daughter who's made up this page, but they've been in the Daily Mail, and it sounds crackling. Well, it was crackling, obviously, because it was on fire. But the whole beautiful cottage burnt to the ground. Anyway, there we go. So that's that. Anyway, right. Okay. Well, I forgot to talk about them yesterday, and I meant to. I'm going to talk about someone else who's closer to my heart tomorrow, who deserves your support, and I want real support for her because she's going through an extremely tough time, and Lady Min knows her very well, a lovely German girl who's going through hell, and she deserves big donations, but we'll do that properly tomorrow because I'll give the links. I will prepare the links in the actual video prior, because I want you to do it properly. These people I don't know personally. I just thought, they deserved a bit of support. So if you want to give them a pound, give them a pound. I'm not saying give them £100. No, it's just nice to support people who are in need. And this poor couple, their house was uninsured because they had made plans to have the roof replaced with tiles, and they didn't get there in time. So the house burned down. So now they've got nothing. They've got nout after 53 years. And it's very sad for those people because they're not bad people. You can see that they're just ordinary, decent people. And it looked like a lovely house, a beautiful thatched cottage, and it's just up in flames. We can all experience bad luck in life, and if you can give a pound to them, because I think that would be a nice thing to do. Right. Anyway, Meghan Markle, she's been out harassing ducks. What do you think of that? Meghan Markle has been on the harassment campaign. What is Murky Meg up to? What was that staged photograph all about? Who was filming the staged photograph? She's herding ducks across a road. Is everything that this mad woman does staged for the camera? Okay, we've got £100 million deal, so of course we've got to make things look things. But seriously, Meghan Markle is wandering in the road. Where was the security guards? Where's her security? She goes around with security all the rest of the time. She normally has like 5 cars of security. So why was she wandering around on the streets of Montecito herding ducks? Seriously. It's a staged photograph. It's yet another example of Meghan Murky Markle, daughter of Doria drug dealer, Ragland, creepy Doria. Seriously, Murky Meg, shame on you. I love her sister Samantha is a fabulous lady, absolutely great. Haven't spoken to her in a while. She changed her phone number. I've forgotten to note down that it's somewhere in my notebook, but I'll find it. I must give her a ring. I'll ring her tomorrow. Anyway, but yeah. Hey Tiggers has given a donation to the couple with the thatched cottage. That's very kind. Please, all of you, give £1. Give £1. It will help them. Anything will help them. They probably need about £50,000 or £100,000 or whatever it is. But if everybody gives £1, it'll all help. It's just very nice. But that's very kind of you. Thank you. You are a decent person. That's the right thing to do. I've sent them a donation myself already today because I just felt sorry for them. I don't know them. I will never probably know these people at all. But there is a reason to support people who deserve to be supported. Right. Anyway. Right. Check my microphone. What's wrong with it? Oh, what's wrong with my microphone? Oh, you can't hear me? No. Oh. Oh. The crackling microphone. It's probably the computer. It's probably the noise of the computer. I can't do anything about the computer. The computer is making a noise. It's just how it is. I'm very sorry. Right. Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Oh. Is that better? Hello? Much better. Okay, right. Okay, right. Yes, okay, right, we're fine. Let's keep going. It's just the angle of the silly microphone. I'm not very good with technologies, But anyway, right. Tap the mic. There you go. You want me to tap the mic? Okay. Right. Okay. Well, anyway. Yes, the death of the Pope. I think it's very sad that the Pope died, but I didn't like the fact that Katie Hopkins. Oh, right, you don't like the microphone. Okay, well, I could try and take the microphone out and talk to the computer. Right, okay, let's try that. Oh, here we are. Going live. Hello again. I don't know if any of you are able to listen to me, but here we are. Supposedly I've come back. Yes. I don't know how I've come back from the dead, but I've allegedly come back. You can hear you. Okay, right. I don't know what happened, but there we are. Something to do with reconnecting. This YouTube is a very strange medium. Anyway, there we are. I'm like, Jesus, I'm back. Yes, there we are. It's a bit like Richard Attenborough's film, isn't it? Whistle Down the Wind, which is one of my wonderful films that I absolutely love, which was filmed obviously in Lancashire. And, Jesus, Jesus. There we go. So we're reunited. Yes, we don't have the crackling. We do have the coughing, and I think that's probably what you were referring to is the coughing in the background, because I think that's probably what you think's making the problem. It's just the lady is ill, so she can't help it. It's not her fault. But it's not actually crackling. I don't think in this instance. I think it's actually probably. Anyway, Jesus is in our barn. Yes, Jesus. Precisely. I loved the film. A wonderful film. If you haven't watched it, watch Whistle Down the Wind. A lovely black and white film. Fabulous story. It's not a pleasant story, but anyway, sorry. There is this noise continually, which that is probably what you're objecting to because it's coming up on the microphone. So you're suggesting that there's crackling. There is no crackling. It's just somebody coughing, unfortunately. Can't do anything about it. There we go. I'm nice and clear now. Okay, well, the death of the Pope. Katie Hopkins has weighed in. If there is any celebrity yet to post your picture with the Pope for your Stone of Death credit, do it now. Your vultures all. And she put a picture up of Angela Rayner. There we go. Katie Hopkins does turn everything into a Katie Hopkins show. But, the Pope, I'm not a great fan of religion. I'm not a fan of the Church of England, which I'm part of, or the Catholic Church, which I'm not part of. The Spotlight film was one of the best films ever made, in my view, because it did expose the corruption of the Catholic Church and all those horrible, horrible priests who did terrible things in America. And, the Catholic Church has a lot to answer for, but this Pope, may he rest in peace. That's what I say. That's all I have to say of him. He wasn't as controversial as other popes. He certainly did things that probably upset the world. And, King Charles went to visit him the other day, and they seemed to have a very pleasant meeting. I criticized King Charles last night because I think King Charles should not have had that ghastly brother of his around. That piece of filth should be consigned to the cellar along with Fergie. I want those two locked up for life. They don't belong on the Bibby Stockholm. They deserve locking in the basement. They are absolute scumbags, those two. Disgusting, horrible pair. Grifters. They are the worst grifters on the planet. But the Archbishop or whatever it was at Windsor yesterday, he tried his best to avoid Prince Andrew because why wouldn't you? You don't want to be near that. That thing is not a thing you want to be near. When I remember reading an article the other day about somebody who I knew had died in the 1990s because I looked it up. I was talking to my friend at the Daily Mail about this. about this particular person who was an expert in UFOs, of all weird things. And I Googled it, and this weirdo, who I didn't really like, expert in UFOs. Curious person. Anyway, she's dead now. She lived in Edgerton Gardens. She was a very strange woman. And she went on about how sexy Prince Andrew was. And I thought, oh my, that was in the article. It's still there. I don't know how this article's still there, because like most articles vanish from the internet after about 20 years, because most publications just don't keep an archive. But to call Prince Andrew sexy was, I thought, very lowbrow. Anyway, that was just an aside on that. Anyway, on the Pope, God rest his soul. I don't know much about this Pope. I'm not into religion. Someone who I knew from my younger years. He's the Catholic Herald, and he's very important there. And he used to spend a lot of time with the Pope, and of course, he's a big fan. And yeah, because that's what his job is to be. So he will be bigging the Pope up, of course, and there'll be the next Pope. So there we go. But I don't know. But I do think that this man, the Pope, as an individual, I don't think he was one of the worst of the lot. But may his soul rest in peace. That's all I say. Okay, there we go. So yeah, we've done 1 hour and 20 minutes. Any more questions for me, please? More questions, and then we'll do a quiz. I have written a quiz. I've got to write more quizzes. I didn't have much chance today because I had a lot of pressure put on me to do lots of things this morning, and I was trying to write my quiz and I didn't get a chance. So I've had to write it rather quickly today, but that doesn't mean it won't be a bad quiz, but it's not up to my normal standards, in my view. Right. Do I like Scott Jessup? I don't know who Scott Jessup is. Scott Jessup person. Sorry, I don't understand who you are, but your comment, your title is odd, and your question is very odd. So I can't answer your question. I don't know who you are, and I don't know who Scott Jessup is. So sorry, no idea. Okay, right. Nana Buster, the Lord Jesus Christ is my savior. We are all sinners. Okay, well, that's your view. Okay, Andrew should get a job in Pizza Express. Fergie should work as the dishwasher. Well, she'd be better off doing sucking the dishes, wouldn't she? Sucking the hoses or something. That's what she likes doing. She's a toe sucker. Well, she likes having her toes sucked, so I suppose I don't know what you do with her. Awful. Am I wearing makeup? No, I'm not wearing makeup. No, I don't wear makeup ever. No. So no. Andrea Bono says you can't watch 2 live streams at once. I don't know what that means. No idea. I look like a pork pie.
What do you look like?
Gene Psychic, I'm not sure why you think I look like a pork pie, but I don't consider myself to look like a pork pie, but I'd love to have a pork pie. So there we go. Why does the Madeleine McCann case continue to get so much funding? Because of the corruption associated with those awful people. Yes. I don't know who this Scott Jessup person is, what we're trying to achieve, but I'm not quite sure why you're asking questions of this type, but there we are. Right. Right. I've no idea why you keep going on about pork pies. I realize you can keep on going on about the coughing in the background, but that's what you keep on doing. So there we are. I can't do anything about it for the moment, so that's not possible. Have I any views on John Benet Ramsey? Well, she was another child that vanished, but I don't know anything much about that case. I'm not an expert, but I would think that there was something connected to the family. I don't know. Again, most situations of this type are connected to the family, but I don't know. It's a very odd story, but putting that child up to be a beauty queen and all the rest of it as a child is disgusting for a start. Why would you do that to your own child? That's cruel. Not a nice thing to do. Horrible. Something not quite right with that family, but I don't know. I'm not an expert on that story, and I'm not going to go there. It's not my bag. Let's be honest. It's not my thing. I've got enough stories on the go. I've got Jeremy Bamber, which is fabulous. That the Guardian have done so much good work. Absolutely wonderful of the Guardian. They've done. Mr. Haddonstone has done great work. The lovely lady at the New Yorker. Everybody I've now talked to is going, well, we didn't realize that you were actually on the right path. Same with the Menendez brothers. I look at stories and I analyze. Most people look at stories and they just go, oh, yeah, horrible, evil, absolutely, like this Lucy Letby. And we were having a discussion at a lunch today. We had a new lady who we'd never met before to lunch today. And she and I chatted about Lucy Letby, and we all know that this Lucy Letby is going to get off. The narrative is there already because we've got Nadine Dorries, that bitch. Horrible Nadine. Nasty Nad, as she's known. Nasty Nad. We've got Deviant David Davis. We've got horrible Hitchens, Peter Hitchens. They've all jumped on the merry little bandwagon, and oh yes, once you get all this little cabal of monsters, they all get together and they'll all make it so that little Lucy will be let out. But little Lucy, well, I'm never going to change my mind. That woman is vile. What she did to those children was disgusting. And I think many more probably. She is worse than Rosemary West. And I'm not going to change my mind. I'm convinced of her guilt. Not everybody who goes to prison is innocent. That woman is not an innocent person. No. And those poor families, they deserve justice, and they don't want any more from this nonsense. And that little cabal of creeps should shut their traps. It's a jolly well disgusting, disgraceful thing what they're doing to that poor, innocent bunch of parents. Those parents, they lost their children, and those children lost the opportunity to grow up and to contribute to society, and that is morally repugnant. Shame on you, Nadine Dorries. Shame on you, Peter Hitchens. Shame on you, David Davis MP. You are repugnant people. I don't like you. I think you're vile. And you're talking a load of old tosh. So go back and shove your story back up your jumpers, you ghastly people. Absolutely wrong and repugnant. Awful. Yep. I know I'm going to be criticized by so many people because you all love Lucy Letby and you think Lucy Letby is the nice little blonde little girl who's the daughter of the nice little middle class parents. Yes, yes, yes. I realize. Okay, yes, I'm getting a bit of that now. Okay. Yep, yep. Okay. So, yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Middle Class parents who smothered her with love to the point that she felt that she couldn't even have a boyfriend because she would upset her parents. Oh, really? Who cares? This little rat wrote letters talking about what she did and how evil it was. You wouldn't write letters about that if you hadn't done it, would you? Because how would you know? Oh, for goodness sakes. Honestly. Please, people, get a mind. Get some logic in your brain. That's what I say. She's evil, yes. Nana Buster. Nana Buster is the person that sums it up the very best. Nana Buster is the only thing we need to say. She's evil. Yes?
Yes.
Nana Buster, you have made the comment of the day. Nana Buster. I don't know who you are, Nana Buster, but Nana Buster, she's evil. You are 150% correct. Lucy Letby is evil. I'm not changing my mind on this because she is wicked. What she did to those poor people, and then she piled more misery. And she has written letters and she made all these, she pestered them. She pestered these families. I'm sorry, as a doctor, my sister never contacts her patients. You don't contact patients directly after consultation. It's not correct. She was pestering them. She is a pest. She's a petulant pest. She is a stain on humanity. She's worse than Rosemary West because she is one of the worst serial child killers in Britain ever. That is disgusting. And people are coming out to defend this bitch. She's not. I don't care if I use offensive words about this woman because she's not a woman. She's not a woman. She's not even a human. She's a monster. She's a maniac. She destroyed those poor families, and she did it again and again because she kept pestering them. Not only did she kill their children, but she then started going, oh, hello, hello, hello. Can you imagine having realized that this woman, when she was convicted, this woman who killed your child is now writing you letters and pestering you as if she's your friend? That makes it 100 times worse, doesn't it? Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
And that is why she is a monster. She's an evil, slaughtering, slaying bitch. And I don't care how loud I say it. I'm not going to be falling for the nonsense of the Lucy Letby fan club. Lucy Letby was a murdering, monstrous, vile, vicious, vindictive. There's so many words I could use. It's just, she is filth. She's detritus. She's scum. She's sickening. Lucy Letby should burn in hell, and I hope she does.
To the gallows.
If there were anybody who deserved the death penalty, yes, Lady Min thinks her. I'm not a believer in the death penalty, but she comes pretty close, I would say. Now, here we go. We got Josie Moldovi who says Hitchens is criticizing the legal process, not saying Letby is innocent. Okay. Nana Buster says she's a psychopath. I agree with Nana Buster. Scott says we get it. Okay, well, you don't need to get it. I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to change my mind. I think Lucy Letby is a monster. No, I'm not going to change my mind. Forget it. Right. Right. People are asking about this Scott Jessup. I don't know what the meaning of the title of Scott Jessup's name is, but I'm not going to read it out because it's obviously something very controversial, and I'm not reading it out. Steve R says she's a vile, horrible person. Totally agree. She's a long way from a retrial. Yes, well, she deserves not to get a retrial. She was convicted fairly in the court of law, and all these people are just stirring the pot because they want to get a bit of fame out of themselves by being associated with saving the white middle-class, blonde-haired little girl who looks like she's Miss Innocent because she comes from a nice middle-class family. No, she murdered children. And her parents, well, there's something wrong with them for a start. Let's be honest. They look like a pair of wrong'uns. I don't like the look of them. I'd rather not even go there with them. But anyway, they didn't commit the crime, so they're not guilty of anything. But I just don't like the look of them. There we go. But you know, Nadine Dorries likes the look of her because she's white, blonde, and middle class. So yeah, you go. We can have their opinion known, but I'm not allowed to say what I want because you know, that's how it works. Well, I'm going to continue speaking out against Lucy Letby because somebody has to, because Lucy Letby wouldn't give her the time of day. I support real innocent people who are getting attention finally, like Jeremy Bamber. Jeremy Bamber, you know, The Guardian did the most fabulous article, and read it, please. And every one of you must read that article. It's a fabulous article. You know, The New Yorker did a great article. Jeremy Bamber cannot be the killer because he was outside the house when there was movement inside the house. So therefore, he's not the killer. So let's go to a case like that where a man has been wrongly imprisoned for over 40 years. You know, it's terrible. Jeremy Bamber is not the guilty party. Lucy Letby, seriously? The evidence is clear. We're in the modern age. 40 years ago, we didn't have the kind of evidence that we have now. But Lucy Letby, oh yes, there's plenty of evidence. But oh no, she can't be guilty because she's white and she's blonde haired. If she'd been black or she'd been Pakistani, they'd have gone, oh yes, lock her up. That's how Nadine Dorries would never have come out in support of a Pakistani lady, would she? If Lucy Letby were Pakistani, Peter Hitchens and Nadine Dorries and David Davis, yeah, right. Of course, they'd have come out in support of her. No, that's how it works. This is because she's white, blonde, and middle class, and lived in a semi-detached house and had these weird parents who are probably Freemasons or something. Something weird about those two. There's something very odd about those parents. And my friends at the Daily Mail are all onto that. But they've all said she's going to get away with it. And she will. I mark my words. I do think she will get away with it, but I'm not going to change my mind. I'll never be convinced of the innocence. It's a bit like that Amanda Knox woman. She's a bit of an oddity. You know, let's see what, you know, okay, she was cleared of various things, but, you know, she wasn't cleared of the defamation of the other person she accused of being the murderer. So, you know, Amanda Knox, you know, poor Meredith Kircher. What about the victim? Let's think about the victims. Let's think about the poor children that Lucy let be killed. Those children have never had a chance to grow up, to contribute to our world. That is what matters to me, I would say. What about their brothers and their sisters, their mothers and their fathers, their uncles, their cousins, and everybody else? They never had chance to see those lovely children who could have been wonderful people. Maybe they could have changed the world. Maybe they could have become doctors, or maybe they could have become Nobel Prize winners, or maybe they could have become actors, or maybe they could have become vicars, or maybe whatever they could have become. The opportunity was taken away from them by Lucy fucking Letby. And I will use that word because I think that woman is the most filthy person. She's worse than Rosemary West. She took away the lives of those children, and they never had a chance to excel in any arena because she just wanted them. She couldn't have her own little way with the world because her mum and dad didn't want her to be whatever she wanted to be, whatever they wanted her to be, she claims. And she wrote it all in her nasty notebook. And her nasty notebook gives away a lot about what she did. Let's be honest. And everyone goes, oh, well, she just made it up. She made it up. Really? How many times did she make it up in this notebook? I have a notebook. I can tell you, my notebook here is here. You can read any page of my notebook you want. I write notes in my notebook about whatever I'm doing, or whoever. I get phone numbers or things I'm going to talk about or whatever. I don't write down, I am evil, like she did. I'm a killer. Do you think I would really do that? If I were a killer, if I were a psychopath, you wouldn't write it down. Psychopaths don't do that. She was just a very wicked, evil woman who she thought she was above everything, so she just did it. She just wrote it all down. And then she pestered the families. It's totally morally... Yes, she's banana. Gene Psychic, you're correct. She is bananas. She's bananas, yes. She's been framed, says SS Racing. Okay, well, you're entitled to your view. Not everyone has... I don't... look, if we all agreed, the world would be boring. You think she's been framed. Why do you think she thought she could play God, says... Right. Anyway, more of you coming in saying, of course, she's innocent. All that rubbish. Yep. Okay. Well, you're entitled to your views. Amanda Knox's bloody footprint was on the shower mat. She had a shower when her friend lay dead, says Bess. I'm totally in agreement with you, Bess, about Amanda Knox. I don't think Amanda Knox was innocent at all either. I think she's another one who's another of these, perfect looking people. The perfect looking person can never be the killer, ever. It's not allowed. You can't have it. That's how it works. So you're completely correct. And that Amanda Knox is making a big fuss at the moment about all sorts of stories. Amanda Knox is another one I can't stand. She's like the McCanns. There's something not right about her. But, of course, she's been cleared of that. But she wasn't cleared of the defamation of the person she accused of being the murderer. So she did have to pay damages for that. So she's not innocent, is she? She's not actually innocent. But yes, the media go, oh, give her a podcast, give her this, give her that, give her that. And, she's allowed to have a voice. Poor Meredith Kircher is still brown bread. Her life was taken away. Why don't we talk about the victims? Talk about the victims, because they're the people we should care about. Poor Meredith Kircher's parents don't have a daughter anymore. Terrible, isn't it? You know, nice, beautiful girl from England who went to Italy to study, and then this weird woman, you know, whatever went on. And it all ends with some poor black man who was falsely accused, you know, and whatever. And very interesting story that. Hey, what does Judge Rinder think? Judge Rinder on who? We're on to Meredith Kircher now. I don't know what Judge Rinder has to do with Meredith Kircher. Right. Okay. Amanda Knox is a cold psychopath. That's a view. Okay. Well, I can't say she is, but I think you know what my feeling is. Yes. I don't like Amanda Knox. No. Amanda Knox is not a pleasant lady. There we go. I don't know what you want to ask me about this Judge Rinder, but I've never met Judge Rinder, but right, okay. I don't quite know what Judge Rinder has to do with the matter, because I'm not quite sure, because he's got nothing to do with Amanda Knox, as far as I'm aware. Have I met Dr. Phil? No, I've never met Dr. Phil, but obviously Dr. Phil made programs with Julia, the fake Madeline, and of course tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. fake Julia, Julia Wandell, or whatever her name is, on a Tuesday. Maybe she's called Tracy on a Tuesday, or maybe she's called what else begins with a T? There's a female name. I don't know, but whatever she's called on a Tuesday, I don't know. She's appearing at Leicester Magistrates Court tomorrow, along with Karen Spragg, Mrs. Spragg. Can you imagine being called Mrs. Spragg and wearing Crocs and a horrible? She'll probably be in a horrible tracksuit again. She's a piece of old rubbish. They're on one charge now, not four. So I don't know what will happen to them. Perhaps Julia will get deported or something, Julia or whatever her name is. Yeah, I don't know. Karen comes from Cardiff. Karen from Cardiff. I don't know what Karen does, but she's definitely an oddity. Right, okay. And Mrs. Spragg probably goes to Tesco's in her pajamas, says Josie. She probably goes everywhere in her pajamas. That's probably what she does. She looks like the sort. But look, this is costing the British justice system a lot of money. I don't know. It's probably better this fake Julia is just deported. Let's be honest. Let's chuck her out of Britain. Let's get rid of her. It costs £54,000 to keep someone in prison, a low-cost prison in Britain per year. So it would be a better idea just to chuck her out. Let's be honest. Let's be rid of this stain on humanity. She's a complete nutcase. I like Ron Swanson, and I'm going to probably do a program with him this week about something else. But I don't agree with him about this fake Julia, no. And I don't agree with Sean Atwood and all these others. This fake Julia needs to go. She's making it up. She is not Madeleine McCann. The McCanns, I don't like the people, but they don't need to be harassed by a fake person who isn't they say she is, because until they're proven to be anything else, there's no need for any of this. It's time to end this charade of ridiculous, this carbuncle of nonsense. It's absolutely ridiculous. So no, we don't need any more of this fake Madeline. It's time to end the circus. There we go. I know some of you have different things. Gene Psychic says poor Julia has been exploited. I don't think so. I think she's making it all up. She's a complete psycho. What about her other parents in Poland? What's the truth with them? Right. They were certainly negligent. The McCanns, yes. Well, I agree about all of that. I'm totally with you on all of that. But that doesn't mean that the McCanns have the right to go around doing what they did, do they? Saying, all this nonsense. So, right. And I don't think this Julia had the right to go around making up things. Julia was harassing people. Yes, I think she was. Right. Who's Sheila's husband? I don't know who Sheila is. So, right. She was harassing the children too. Well, the charges about that have been dropped. So I don't know what the reason for that is, but they've been dropped. So that's not the case. You want me to ask a question about the Bambas? I don't know what question Hillary has about the Bambas. Hillary, ask your question about the Bambas again, because I don't know it. I don't know what the question is, so please ask me the question. What became of Sheila's husband? Well, okay, if that's the question. He participates in all sorts of things with Carol and Lee, and he is a big proponent of Jeremy Bamber being guilty. So yes, Sheila's husband, Mr. Caffell, that is his belief. He believes, yes, he does believe Sheila to be innocent and Jeremy to be guilty. So there we are. He's been on many programs talking about it. I think on that kind of GMTV type nonsense, and Lorraine or whatever, or something of that type. He speaks on those kind of programs about it occasionally. Who was the beneficiary of the Bamber estate? Well, the family, the cousins, the Boutflowers got most of the money. So, yeah, they did rather well out of it. The old caravan park and the farm and all the rest of it. So there was lots of money. Loads of money. So they all did rather well. The cousins, yeah, they all did very, very, very well out of it. So it was in their interest to get rid of Jeremy, wasn't it, really? Let's be honest. Anyway, right. Okay, I think we've done enough of this. We've been going for 1 hour and 52 minutes. So I think it's time we did a quiz. Let's have a quiz. Are we ready for a quiz? Is Lady Min ready for a quiz? I don't know. She's coughing in the background, but I don't know whether she's capable of joining in. But are you ready for a quiz, Lady Min?
What?
Are you ready for a quiz?
Yes.
She's ready to join in with the quiz. So anyway, she's being very nice today. So we've had a nice lunch in the garden, and it's time for a quiz. But we need someone to help me with a quiz. Have we got anyone who can be a teller? We need a teller, please. A teller. Let's have a teller. Right. Bess is ready for the quiz. Okay, well, Bess, thank you. Right. No, we don't need a dealer. We need a teller, someone to assist with the taking of the points. A teller. Josie will help. Can you pronounce my name correctly? You asked first. Josie Muldowney, I believe, would be your name. Josie Muldowney, by the way it's spelt. She's got pen and paper. Okay, thank you, Josie Muldowney. I hope that's your name. Or is it Muldowney? I don't know. Well, no, that's what someone says, Miss Marple. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. But I don't mean to be rude. I'm never intentionally rude to people who are nice to me. I'm intentionally rude to people who are very rude to me. Naturally, I would not be polite to people who are rude to me, would I? But I'm sorry, I don't know if I've spelt. I don't know if I've spelt your name correct, pronounced your name correctly. But it was not intentional that I. Right. Okay. Well. Anyway, you can have your quiz. Let's start this quiz in a moment. I better pour myself a drink first, don't I? Let me have a drink. I better not have any more whiskey. I'll have a bit of red wine now. It's time for a bit of red wine. So, no, actually, no. I will stick with I'll stick with the whiskey. Let's stick with the whiskey because it is the evening. Right. Okay. A bit of J&B. There you go. Keep me going. The old booze. We had the lovely friend round, and he loves a bit of whiskey, so we had to buy a bottle for him. And he did bring his lovely model boat, and we had a wonderful time. So anyway, right, we're ready for a quiz. Right. So, quiz time. The Steeple Times quiz. Right, okay. In which county is Brighton situated? Which county is Brighton situated? We need the correct designation. It's not west. It's Yvonne Flanagan gets the point because, of course, it's East Sussex. We need the correct part of, Yvonne Flanagan, Yvonne F gets it because, of course, it's not West Sussex, it's East Sussex. Of course, it was called Brighthelmstone in the Domesday Book in 1086. It was fashionable in the Georgian era. The Royal Pavilion with obviously, George the Fifth. Obviously, it's very involved with LGBT, Q plus X, Y, and Z. It's the UK's hippest city, allegedly. Okay, so there we go. Well done to Yvonne. Yvonne got the point. So, who is the singer-songwriter of 2016's Love My Life? Who is the singer-songwriter? The winner is is Lynn's with Robbie Williams, though you don't spell it correctly. The one going on about the previous question, I only see what I see on my screen, so I only make my own notes on my own thing. It comes up it's called a chat, and then it says goal, and all you come up in front, and I get whichever comes first. So I'm very sorry if you think you came first. I don't know. I don't know how to dispute these matters. I can only do this in a way that is fair and reasonable, and the way it is fair and reasonable is what I see on my screen. So there we go. So I'm very sorry if you think that you beat someone else, but Yvonne came up first. Okay. Robbie Williams said of his song, I Love My Life, I realized what happens to you when you become older is because of you when you are a kid. So this song is about spreading hope and positivity instead of negativity, and making the most of your life. I thought that was a very nice, inspiring thing that Robbie Williams said. Wonderful of him. Well done to Robbie Williams. That's something that's very, very pleasant. Okay, what is the total area of Australia in square kilometers? What is the total area of the sixth largest country in the world, Australia? What is the total area? I will accept, a range. It's not 1 million, it's not 20,000, 200,000, it's not 900, it's not 2 million. I'll accept a range. No, it's not 900, it's not 16, it's not 8 million. 8 million is close, so if nobody gets close, I'll accept that. Okay, I suppose Chili Karen, I'll accept your 8 million because you are close. Chili Karen gets the point. Right. It is 7.68 million square kilometers. So well done to Chili Karen. Thank you. Chili, well done. Well done. Okay. What is the name of the only 17th century castle still in use as a residence in Northern Ireland? It is used as a hotel currently. What is the name of the castle? It's not Castleford and it's not Stormont. Stormont is a government building. It's not Buckingham. No, it's in Northern Ireland, so it can't be called Dublin, can it? No. It's not Carsick. It's the only 17th century castle. No. It's not Derry. It's not Bushmills. It's not Armagh. It's not Paddy. It's not Dublin. It's not Porkpie. It's not Sligo or Shamrock or Travelodge. It's not Castle Beckham. It's not Leap Hall. No. Okay. Nope. Right, okay. I think we award 0 points on that one. The answer is Ballygally Castle. I don't know why. It's not the Janet Evans Castle, that's for sure. Janet Evans couldn't order or organize a piss up at a brewery, let alone that. Okay. In which year did Absolutely Fabulous premiere with my friend, the lovely Helen Lederer, and Joanna Lumley? What year did it premiere? Lois Petzold is straight in there. Lois, well done. Lois Petz, as I shall write you down as. You get in 1992. Well done. French and Saunders and all of that. Okay. What type of a race course is Plumpton? What type? What type of race course? It opened in 1884. The Queen Mother had her first winner there with Super Fox in 1963. It's not a greyhound. It's not steeplechase. No, it's what type of race course? It's not a posh one. No, none of you are getting the correct answer. Bess gets the point for saying, even though she says it the wrong way around, it is National Hunt. It's a National Hunt racetrack. That is the correct definition of the track. It is a National Hunt track. We could accept other answers, but I was specific on that one. Okay. Who won his 3,000th race at Plumpton on the 9th of February 2009? Who won his 300,000th race at Plumpton, the same racetrack? I love Plumpton. It's one of my favorite tracks. Who won the 3,000th race there? It wasn't Lester Piggott, no. It wasn't Mullins, no. It wasn't Daley Thompson. It wasn't Willie Bess gets a second point. Bess goes into the lead. Well done to Bess. Of course, the winner of the 3,000th race at Plumpton on the 9th of February 2009 was A.P. McCoy. We love A.P. McCoy. Great man. Okay. How old, and then this is a question relevant to today, was Pope Francis on his death on the 21st of April 2025 today? How old was he? He was the People's Pope according to Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer called him the People's Pope. Right. Okay. The first one to say 88 was SS Racing. So you get the point. SS Racing gets a point. Well done to SS Racing. But, you know, Keir Starmer called him the People's Pope. I thought that was a bit naff. Let's be honest. Okay, where was the actor Timothy Spall born on the 27th of February 1957? Timothy Spall, a great actor. Where was he born? I need the exact area of London. It was not. I could accept. I would have accepted London, but I didn't. I wanted the exact area. It's not Birmingham, Wales, Newcastle. Okay, which area? No. Okay, well, I will accept London, I suppose. So the winner has to be. Oh God, the winner is Lois. So Lois gets a second point. So we've got two people in first place. It was Battersea in London. He was a postman. He had a postman as a father. Okay, but I would have liked to have the correct area of London, but in fact, I didn't. I wasn't specific. So yes, fair enough. London is an acceptable answer. Who was the author of Nicholas Nickleby? It was the third novel by the person, and it features Yorkshire and London. Who was the author of Nicholas Nickleby? Lois gets a third point. Well done, Lois. Of course, it was Charles Dickens. It was written in 1839. Who founded Poundland? And I need both. I need both names. In 1990, selling all items at £1. And they sold the company for 610 million in 2016. It's collapsed since. You know, it's been. No, I need the name. One of you's got Bess has got Dave Dodd. Okay, Bess. Okay, well, Bess has got Dave Dodd. Okay, Bess, I'll let you have it. It was Dave Dodd, but it was also Dave Dodd with Stephen Smith. But I'll allow you the point. Okay, I'll allow you the point. How many subscribers on YouTube does the journalist Johnny Harris have as of 2025? You know, the man behind Vox and 40-minute docs, obscure topics attracting millions. Paulie Gualtieri gets it. Paulie, well done. You are close. I'll allow you because it's 6.5 million. You've got Paulie G. You can have it because it's he has supposedly 6.5 million. You say 6. Okay. Who played Bet Lynch in Coronation Street from 1966 to 2003? Which was very into leopard skin. The first one, to spell it, well, Claudia G, you can have it. Claudia G, it's Obviously, Julie Goodyear. Julie Goodyear. It wasn't Margaret Thatcher, no. Okay. In what year was my dear, dear, dear friend Stephen Burkoff, the actor, born? In Stepney, London. What year? No, 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 no. No, no, no. You're not very good at Stephen Burkoff. What year was Stephen Burkoff born in Stepney, London? Chili Karen, you get the point. Well done, Chili. You're going to have a second point. It was 1937. The wonderful Stephen Burkoff, a great actor and a good friend of mine. How many passengers supposedly travelled on Uber boats by Thames Clippers on the Thames, London, in 2024? The boats, the river boats. How many people travelled? Lynn says 4, but no, we didn't have 4. No. Not 2.3 million, not 1 million. No. Adam Forbes says 4 million. That's the correct answer. 4 million. Yes, Adam Forbes gets the point. Okay, because he does say 4 million. With which sport is Wayne Rooney associated? With which sport is Wayne? This is a very easy question. I was in a rush to write this. Paulie gets the point. Paulie G gets the second point. We're getting lots of you getting more than 1 point tonight. So, yes, it's football. With which item is Dame Mary Quant most associated? There are 2 options, but there is one primary option. Which Lois gets a 4th point, so now Lois is well into the lead. Of course, it was mini skirts. She was also associated with hot pants. You know, she was a legend alongside Chanel and Dior. And she used to come to the La Brasserie restaurant. And I loved Dame Mary Quant. She was a lovely lady. Great friend of Marissa, a lovely lady who was also a very dear part of our life. Okay. What year was Austin Healey established in? What year was Austin Healey established in? It merged with Jaguar in 1966 and it ended in 1972. But what year was it established? It was not 1950. It wasn't 1945. It wasn't 1932. No. Some of you just don't listen because you come up with stupid answers. But some of you do. Adam Forbes, you get a second point because it was 1952. Adam Forbes gets that point. Okay, what is ITV legally known as? What is ITV legally known as? What is the legal name of ITV in Britain? No, it's not independent television. It's not the Nonce network. Yes. Sorry, I've got the wrong one. Jules B gets the point. Jules B, a new entrant, gets the point. It is Channel 3. It's Channel 3. That's what it's known as. And this is our final question. It's not going to change much, but who co-created the sleeve design for the Beatles' 1967 album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band? Who created it? Who created it? Joyce Grove says Peter, but well, you need to give a surname. Joyce Grove says Peter Blake now. Well, she says Blake on top of it. Joyce Grove can have the point for Peter Blake because she did do it correctly. Joyce Grove. So you get a point for that. So from what I gather, the winner is Lois Petzold. Lois wins the quiz. Well done to Lois. Thank you, Lois. Thank you to everyone else. And no, there's no more quiz for tonight because I haven't had time to write anymore. Anyway, never mind. It was just a simple quiz. It was a very, very simple, quick one. This one it was very easy. Not quite up to my normal standards, but right. Okay. Well done to Lois for getting everything right. Please, could I tell you who killed the Bamba family? Well, it's very obvious. Sheila Cavell. As simple as that. She's the killer, without a doubt. Right, okay. Why do you ask me this, Hillary? Hillary, are you a supporter of Jeremy Bamber or are you against Jeremy Bamber? Let's hear from you. Who are you? What's your view? It'd be interesting to have your view back. So thank you. Not criticizing you. You're entitled to your view just as much as anyone else. So what is your view on Jeremy? Please, thank you. You don't think either. You neither. You don't know. Okay, well, that's fair enough. You don't know. Well, I don't know either. I could be wrong. But I went from 40% convinced that Jeremy Bamber was innocent to 99% when I read the New Yorker article. So read the New Yorker article and read the Guardian article, because those two articles are fabulous works and they both provide serious, wonderful evidence as to why Jeremy Bamber cannot be the killer. And they come from outside sources. They're nothing to do with him. They're to do with police officers who change their minds and all sorts of things and lots of things. Silencers and, evidence, real evidence. So read the articles. That's what I suggest you do. Educate yourself, because every single person I've sent those two articles to, they've changed their mind. We've all gone from 40% to 99%. We are backing Jeremy Bamber, without a doubt. So perhaps read the articles. That might be a good idea for you. That's what I recommend. And I have provided references to those previously in other things. So please go and just click the links. Please do it. I'm not telling you that you should be forced to believe that Jeremy Bamber is an innocent man, but Jeremy Bamber, I believe, is someone who deserves a review of his case by the Criminal Cases Review Commission urgently. Lucy Letby deserves zilch. And that is how I feel about Mrs. Letby. Miss Letby, or whatever her name is. Well, I suppose she is Miss Letby because nobody ever wanted to marry her because she's absolutely ghastly. She's a monster. So there we go. So yeah, we want a review of the Jeremy Bamber case. We do not want a review of Lucy Letby's case. Lucy Letby deserves to rot in hell for all of eternity. She is vile. She's disgusting. She is a monster, and she's a baby slaughterer. And I don't like her. But Jeremy Bamber has been wrongly imprisoned for 40 years. And the latest two articles, brilliant article most recently in The Guardian, and the wonderful article in The New Yorker. Sorry, if you read these articles, you will realize Essex police are corrupt beyond belief. What they did to this poor man, they framed him because it suited their narrative. Posh white boy. You know, it was not fair. Whereas middle-class white girl gets away with it. You know, in this case, Lucy Letby. Oh yeah, let's have Lucy Letby let off because she doesn't look like she should have done it. And he looked too posh. Pick on him. It was 40 years ago, and it wasn't fair. 1986, it's just wrong. And yes, Lucy Letby's case should take its turn in the line for a review. Yes, Jeremy Bamber's case should be reviewed first. Jeremy Bamber deserves to be reviewed because he's been waiting for years. And they've done 3 years of submitting evidence, and they just don't get on with it. Yet why should she get to jump the queue? Who should she be? Just because she's little Lucy Letby, who's got her mate Nadine Dorries, that nasty Nad. She's known as Nasty Nad for a reason, because she's horrible. She was vile. I always when I met her, I thought she was vile. She's one of the most nasty, horrible Conservative MPs I've ever met. And that David Davis, well, he couldn't even manage to get himself in the leadership election. He couldn't get very far, could he? Because quite frankly, he's just a creep. He's just dreadful. Absolutely appalling. Apologist for the child slaughterer. Disgusting man he is. Absolutely vile. And as for that Peter Hitchens. Christopher Hitchens was a lovely, lovely man. And I enjoyed spending time with him in San Francisco. I sat with him in the Jeanette Etheridge's bar, Tosca Cafe. Fabulous place. I met Sean Penn there. I met all sorts of people in that bar. It was where Sharon Stone did the sex scene on the pool table for Basic Instincts, and everything went on in that bar. It was a lovely bar, and then COVID ruined it like everything else. And honestly, he said of his brother, because I'd met his brother when I was at university, because my friend at university used to organize these lunches, and we'd have these lunches, and we had Peter Hitchens along to a lot. I don't know why he'd invited him, because quite frankly, I thought Peter Hitchens was horrible, always. And Christopher Hitchens said to me, "Oh yes, my brother, him," and that was how he felt about him. Nobody not even his own brother liked this rat. He's awful. He's awful. He's just so obnoxious. And he supports this Lucy Letby. Are you deranged? You've got to be mentally unhinged. Anyway, never mind. We can't all agree on everything, can we? But no, I don't like the child slaughtering supporters. So, no. I'm not going to be shutting up about the child. I've been told by lots of you here and lots of other people elsewhere to shut my mouth. Yes, I leave it alone. Yes, I've got that now. Yes, okay. You're not more of people having a go at me. Right. Okay. Omar Benguit deserves a review before Lucy. Omar Benguit has never admitted to be guilty, and if he would admit he was guilty, he would be out of prison right now. Omar Benguit deserves to be free. Omar Benguit is a wonderful, wonderful man who did not do what he did. Okay, he didn't do very. He did some very bad things in his past, but his sister, the lovely, lovely sister, has campaigned for him for so long. And I've spoken with her so many times, and she is a fabulous lady. He deserves a review, yes, before Lucy Letby. Why should Lucy Letby jump the bloody queue? You are all right. This is an absolutely good, valid point. Lucy Letby should not be allowed to be a queue jumper. So tomorrow I'll be doing this as a program. Lucy Letby queue jumper. We're not having the queue jumper. We'll put a stop to her queue jumping. We want Omar Benguit. I want Mark Alexander. Mark Alexander, if he would have Terry Waite, the lovely Terry has been campaigning for Mark Alexander for years. If Mark Alexander had said he was guilty, he would be allowed out of prison. He won't do it because he said, I'm not guilty. I didn't do it. These people deserve the review of their cases ahead of this queue jumper. Queue jumping little middle class white bitch, daughter of the middle class family. She thinks that she can somehow, she's manipulated the system because of her parents, and there's something to do with something odd. And my friends at the Daily Mail think it's something to do with Freemasonry or something. They all think it's a little odd. I think that little Miss Lucy has some very powerful connections, and there's something very odd about semi-detached Lucy. There's something very, very odd. So I'm going to continue speaking out because somebody should, because those poor children were massacred and slaughtered by that bitch. She's an evil, evil bitch. She's worse than Rosemary West. So I don't care about using the word bitch. I will use the word that I feel is appropriate to speak of a serial killing, slaughtering baby monster. How disgusting what she did. And all you people who keep having a go at me, I don't care. Shut your mouths. I'm not bothered. I'm not scared of you. I had the Viscount St. David sent to prison because he offered a reward to kill me and Gina Miller. Yes, I had bodyguards because I had all the EDL and all that, and my friends thought it was wise that I had bodyguards. But I'm not scared of anybody. So don't you start having a go at me for having a go at Lucy Letby, the serial killing baby slaughterer, because that's what she is. Anyway, never mind. You're all entitled to your views, and you're welcome to them. I don't really care what you think, because honestly, there are a lot of psychos out there in the world, and you're up there, and you're siding with Nadine Dorries, Mad Nad, Peter Hitchens, who's completely weird, and David Davis, who's a complete freak. Let's be honest. Well done, you. You've chosen the right team, you lot, haven't you? Well done. I hope you enjoy your little happy clappy time together with Mad Nad, because she's really one of the worst of the lot. She makes Anne Widdecombe look sane. She's a complete nutter. Freak. There we go. So, okay. Right. Yes. The coughing is very bad. Yes, I do agree. She needs a doctor, and we are going to be seeing a doctor tomorrow. So yes, you can. We're trying to see a doctor, but the doctor could not come today. The doctor came on Friday, but the doctor will have to come back because, yes, the coughing is very bad. Yes, I totally agree with you, but there we are, and you can all hear it. So. Yep, you've heard it throughout this program, and I realize that you're all being kind, and that's very nice of you. Um, I'm not going to let her speak about this because she will only get cross. But yeah, yeah, I've tried cough medicine and all the rest, so don't worry. But please, yeah, it's a terrible noise in the background. I agree, and that is what you were complaining about previously. So I realize. Oh dear. Anyway, never mind. We can't do any more about it today because this is France and it's the bank holiday, so we have to wait till tomorrow. But we will be going to see the doctor tomorrow morning, without a doubt. Yes, again. There we are. Right. But I'm very sorry that you all are so concerned about this. That's awful. Yes. Anyway, so there we go. Right. Well, we had, a winner for our quiz. We've done 2.5 hours. I think it's probably time to say good night. Yes, you've all sent best wishes to the recovery for a certain someone, and hot lemon water is recommended. Well, we've tried all sorts of things, and they're generally rejected. You'd like to know about Michael Barrymore and Stuart Lubbock? Well, that's a topic for another night. We've been there, done that, and we can't do that. And yes, we've got yes, we do have all this coughing again. I'm very sorry. Does she sleep? Well, not really. Yes, it's time to put her to bed. So, yes, I think. Thank you for all your support. You've been very, very kind. I'm going to put her to bed now, and it would be very nice of you all to continue supporting me. That's absolutely fabulous. Thank you. And you've all been absolutely lovely, and it's happy Easter to you all. Good night and good gardening, and take care. Okay. Thank you very much, and good night. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.